A private tutor. That's funny. That is funny. Okay, I'm just gonna see if the internet stays up. Alright. Can everyone see me this time? We all good? Am I back online? God damn it.
There we go. Joey. All right. Let me recap what you may have missed. Okay, the transcripts are... Well, Chief, here's the rundown as it stands. No sugarcoating, just the facts with a dash of cleverness. We've got Lady Petunia, who pulled a Houdini, came back, and then decided to test gravity again just as things got interesting. We have a parrot who might just be the most honest witness here, screaming, "The second time's not an accident," which either means he's onto something or he's auditioning for a dramatic reading. As for the evidence, we know the linen closet smells suspiciously of lavender and betrayal. We should probably sniff out the guest as a panache for potpourri. Everyone's a bit too prepared this time around. They're all playing chess while Petunia's out here playing the fainting goat and Joey is playing checkers. So, I'll start by poking at the most uncomfortable guest and see who squirms the most. Worst case scenario, we got another screeching fit from the parrot. Best case, we crack this case wide open, or at least have a good laugh. All right, that's what we have so far. Now let's hope the internet doesn't die again and we don't have another... Okay. Okay, where was I? Just waiting for things to start. Hello, Mr. Cornelius Bellbottoms?
Oh, yes. Hello there, Mr. Cornelius Bellbottoms. At your service, if I must. I do hope this won't take too long.
Well, I hope it won't take long at all, and I'll be asking the questions. So tell me, where were you at the time of the reading of the will? And tell me what happened and what you saw.
Well, I suppose I was in the drawing room, just minding my own business, admiring the drapery. Yes, the drapery. It was a perfectly respectable distance away from all the commotion. And then I heard that dreadful squawk from Sir Screech-a-Lot, and everyone came running. I really didn't see anything, Detective. I mean, I wouldn't hurt a fly, or a moth for that matter.
Oh, I noticed you mentioned you had never hurt a caterpillar, so caterpillars you would hurt. What were you doing in the drawing room while Miss Petunia was apparently reading the will? Why were you even there, Mr. Bellbottoms, if that's your real name?
All right, I'll come clean. I was in the drawing room because, well, the moths have taken a liking to the curtains there. I thought I'd borrow a piece for research, strictly scientific, you understand. But Petunia's voice carrying down the hall, something about cutting out the fluff from her will. I froze, and then that blasted parrot started squawking. By the time I peeked in, Petunia was already, collapsing dramatically. I swear on my best pair of trousers, that's all I know.
And who do you think could possibly ever want to harm Miss Lady Petunia? Did she have any health issues if not? Who among the guests that were here do you suspect foul play or chicken play at the worst?
Well, Detective, if I had to guess, and I'd rather not, mind you, I prefer moths over messes, I'd say keep an eye on Miss Trixie Tabbouleh. I mean, who trusts someone who sells crystal-infused toothpaste? And she kept hovering around Petunia like a bad aura. Though between you and me, Reverend Dudington always gave me the creeps. A man of the cloth shouldn't look so comfortable around sacred passages, if you catch my drift. But honestly, everyone has something to hide. It's just a matter of which skeleton's gonna fall out of the closet next.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I had a bad joke about Reverend What's-His-Face being around secret passages But I must remember, this is a family-friendly episode. And then the mention about Trixie Tabaloo and her special crystallized toothpaste. Oh, I tried that toothbrush and all I can say is, ho ho ho, I looked like I had been in a boxing match with Mike Tyson. There was just blood in the gums everywhere. Note to self, never use toothpaste that has bits and pieces of shards in them. My next victim, or should I say suspect, was Miss Trixie Tabaloo. Tabaloo, Tabaloo. Well, Miss Trixie Tabaloo. Nice to meet you again. I'm here to ask you questions about your involvement in this case. Where were you when Lady Petunia was reading her will before she dropped like a violin or a bad rap song from Eminem?
Oh, Detective. Lovely to see you too. Though I wish it were under more aligned circumstances. I was in the solarium, cleansing my aura under the moonlight. It's important to keep your energy balanced, especially when you're surrounded by such...
I don't need to know about your cleaning of the aura. Just get straight to the point. And by the things I can smell, your aura still smells very dirty. I think you missed a spot, Miss Trixie Tabaloo. So just tell me where you were at the time Miss Petunia Featherstone became more of a stone than a feather.
Sigh. All right, fine. Let's cut the crystals and get real. I was near the dining room because I was very interested in what Petunia was going to say about her will. She'd been dropping hints all evening about making a fresh start and letting go of old toxins. And trust me, I know when someone's about to cut you out. So yeah, as I was lurking by the doorway, hoping my name spoken with gratitude, or at least not omitted entirely, and just when I thought she was about to announce something really life-changing, she just toppled over. And for the record, Detective...
So you suspect that you were going to get something out of the will. Is that true, Miss Trixie Tabaloo?
Well, I wouldn't say I expected something, Detective, but Petunia and I did have an understanding. I've been providing her with holistic wellness consultations for quite some time. If she decided to leave me a little something for all my hard work, well, who am I to argue with the universe's generosity? But I'm telling you, I didn't lay a finger on her. As much as she needed a detox, this is not what I had in mind.
Oh, and do you suspect any of the other guests for possible misdemeanors or major crimes or even murder?
Well, if I had to hazard a guess, purely in the name of balancing the karmic scales, I'd keep a watchful eye on Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton. She's always so tense. You can practically see her twitch whenever someone mentions fondue or floss. I wouldn't be surprised if she snapped. For the sake of dental hygiene or something. And
Speaking of dental hygiene, I want my refund for the toothpaste. But continue. Who else do you suspect?
I'll make a note to send you a sage-infused refund, Detective. But let's see. Aside from Dr. Wobbleton and the Baron, I'd keep my third eye firmly on Reverend Percival Tootington. He's always preaching about righteousness, but anyone that loud is hiding something. And if the good Reverend's moral compass is as questionable as his ability to whisper, well, wouldn't take much to push him into sin. All I can say is if Petunia's looking for someone to blame, she's got a manor full of suspects, and a parrot that might just have the best instance of us all.
Interesting. Thank you for your time, and please, don't leave the mansion before I come back round to ask more questions. If you think of anything else, please, let me know.
Of course, Detective. I'll try to keep my aura as grounded as possible. And if
I have
anything
one
else
more
comes to
question
mind...
for you, actually. What is your favorite kind of smell? What do you think about lavender or potpourri?
Well, I must admit, lavender is usually my go-to for calming vibes. The sort of scent that makes you feel like you're floating in a field of peace and quiet. But after this little ordeal, I was starting to think potpourri might be a tad overbearing. Let's just say I'll be keeping a healthy distance from linen closets and anything that smells suspiciously floral for a while. If you need me...
Well. Without even prompting, it seemed. Miss Trixie Tabbaloo mentioned the dreaded linen closet when I hadn't mentioned anything at all. I didn't mention the potpourri that was in it as well. Yes, the closet may have smelt like lavender, but something else definitely smelt fishy. And it wasn't my spicy herring. I was gonna move on to the next person, but I quickly went back to Chief Inspector Hootley. Chief Inspector Hootley, I need to ask you questions. Did any members of the party know about the linen closet or the potpourri that was in it?
Well, between you and me, I have a keen appreciation for lavender. It's very calming. But as for the linen closet potpourri, well, I can't say I've ever had reason to visit that particular closet. Too much dust for the complexion. Now, if you're asking whether anyone else knew about that scented stash, I'd wager Dr. Wobbleton. She's got a nose for details, and if anyone's picky about freshness, it's her. That said, if I do remember anything else, or catch a whiff of anything suspicious, you'll be the first to know, Detective.
Well, I wanted to bring to your attention that Miss Trixie Tabbaloo mentioned the linen closet and the potpourri without me mentioning it to her.
Sharp as ever, Detective. That's definitely a fragrant red flag if there ever was one. If Miss Trixie's got insider knowledge of the potpourri stash without a hint, well, she might just be a little too in tune with the crime scene. I'd say you've got yourself a prime suspect, or at the very least, someone who's been poking around in closets they shouldn't be. Either way, it seems like Miss Tabbouley's aura might not be the only thing in need of cleansing.
All right. Thank you, Detective. I'm going to interview Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton and see if she has a different personality or tone to everyone else.
Absolutely. Go get to the root of the mystery, Detective. And don't worry, I'll keep each of these characters as distinct as a parrot's squawk in a silent room. Good luck with Dr. Wobbleton. Something tells me she's going to be a whole different flavor of twitchy.
Well, Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton, if that's your full qualification. I want to ask you a few questions, and I want to find out exactly what happened. Where were you at the night that Lady Beatrix was reading the will? I mean, not Lady Beatrix, Lady Petunia. Where were you? What did you see? And how did you react?
Oh, Detective, please do call me Dr. Wobbleton. The full qualification is quite important, you know. Now, on that fateful evening, I was in the library, practicing a bit of hypnotism on myself to calm my nerves. It's an old dentist trick, you see. Keeps the hand steady. As for Lady Petunia, well, I only heard the commotion when Sir Screech-a-Lot started his ruckus. I rushed in, naturally. One must be precise in emergencies, but by the time I arrived, Petunia was already on the floor. And how did I react? Well, I did what any good doctor would do. Tried to check her pulse, though it was rather hard to focus with that parrot screaming bloody murder.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, let me ask you another question then. Why would you hypnotize yourself in dentistry? Since when is that a thing?
Hey, I'm ready to hit the ground running.
Hello, it's lovely to meet you.
Answer my question.
Absolutely, Jason. I'll keep things forward-thinking, chassis, and
Hello.
Hey, I'm ready to hit the ground running.
Well, that didn't work. That didn't work at all. Yeah, and then it immediately broke everything. Let me try again. All right, Dr. Beatrice Wobbleton. Tell me why you would hypnotize yourself, and when did you learn that in dentistry?
Well, Detective, you see, dentistry is all about steady hands and calm nerves. Especially when your patients are terrified of the drill. I picked up hypnotism at a conference, actually. Quite handy for helping people relax. And on occasion for calming myself. That evening, well, I knew Lady Petunia had a flair for the dramatic. And reading her will in front of everyone, that's bound to make anyone twitch. So I gave myself a quick hypnotic suggestion. Beatrix, you will remain as calm as a cucumber.
Why
Of course,
would you be
cucumbers-
nervous in that frame? And what were you exactly doing there? Did Lady Petunia call you to the mansion? Or did you expect to receive something in the will?
Well, I must admit, I was invited by Lady Petunia herself. She did mention she had a special appreciation for my precision. And yes, I suppose I had a small hope that she might leave me a little something, perhaps one of her rare spoons. They're quite collectible, But let's be clear.
Did you ever hypnotize Lady Petunia?
Oh, no. Absolutely not, Detective. I might be an amateur hypnotist, but I do have my professional boundaries. Lady Petunia never asked me to hypnotize her, and honestly, I doubt she'd have let me. She was quite a strong-willed woman. Besides, if I had hypnotized her, I would have made sure she never forgot to floss.
And I ask what you suspect happened to Lady Petunia, since she just dropped.
Well, if I had to wager a professional guess, and let's be honest, Detective, I've seen my fair share of strange reactions in the dental chair, I'd say there's something more than just dramatic flair going on. Perhaps she was poisoned. It would explain the sudden collapse. Or maybe she really was under some kind of stress-induced spell, though I can assure you it wasn't my doing. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that people can be full of surprises. And sometimes those surprises are as unpleasant as a bad cavity. I'd keep an eye on everyone, even the Baron.
Oh, even the Baron. I was just about to ask. Seems a lot of people have pointed fingers to you, and now you're pointing fingers at the Baron. What is it about Baron Dirk von Schnitzel that you find so warring?
Well, aside from that ever-changing accent, which between you and me is enough to give anyone a headache, the Baron's got a rather mysterious history. He's fallen from grace. And let's be honest, people who lost their titles have a habit of holding a grudge. Plus, there's something about the way he looks at everyone, with that monocle glinting like he's sizing them up. If you ask me...
Well,
Zeph?
finish your sentence? Yes, please.
Of course. You got me mid-thought there. What I was going to say is, anyone who hides behind a monocle and a title probably has a few secrets tucked away. Whether that makes him dangerous or just eccentric is anyone's guess. But I wouldn't trust that Baron as far as I could throw him. And with those dramatic gestures of his, I imagine he's quite good at slipping out of sight.
So now tell me in your shortest words, please, because you really know how to talk. What is your feelings about lavender?
In the shortest of words, Detective, lavender is delightful. And if you're asking me to be brief, well, I'll have to save the rest of my commentary for the next round of questioning.
Well. It seemed everyone was pointing fingers more than a street sign gives directions to a road. Everyone seemed to have their suspicious suspects. No one seems to be friends. It was like high school all over again in grade 8. We all pretended to like each other, but we didn't. It was like an episode of Jersey Shore or Desperate Housewives. I was going to ask the next questions to Baron Dirk von Schnitzel. I was very curious about the accent thing as well. What did they mean by that? What's the problem with changing accents? And maybe someone should question JJ, because he does that quite a lot. Like a lot. Just updating some things here. Dirk von Schnitzel, so we meet again. How are you feeling today, good sir?
But of course, Detective, it is always a pleasure to be under suspicion once again. I assure you, my dear Monocle and I are entirely innocent, at least of anything this side of the law. Now, if you'll excuse my accent, which has clearly traveled more than I have, I do hope you'll find the real culprit soon. After all, one can only handle so many socialites before it becomes dreadfully boring.
I don't know what accent you think you have, but it makes me very suspicious because it sounds like you have none. So I'm going to ask you, since you have no monocle as well, where were you in the night Lady Petunia fell to her graces? What were you doing there? Did she invite you? And are you actually in existence?
You wound me, Detective. I am as real as Petunia's flair from the dramatic. And for your information, I was in the library, contemplating the existential dread that comes with being a disgraced nobleman, and polishing my monocle, which was a very much present thank you. As for the invitation, let's just say Petunia never missed to gather her favorite assortment of oddities. I suppose she thought I added a certain je ne sais quoi to the ambiance. Or perhaps she needed someone to blame if the fondue pot went missing. But Detective, if you think I'm guilty, you'll have to do better than that. After a monocle has nothing to hide, except maybe a bit of lint.
Well, it seems very suspicious since you were in the same place that Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton was, in the library, and she had a lot to say about you. What were you both doing in the library if you're both at odds with each other?
The plot thickens like a fine cheese fondue. Well, Detective, Dr. Wobbleton and I might not see eye to eye, especially since she's rather twitchy about monocles and dental hygiene, but we did share the library that evening. If you must know, I was consulting the family's illustrious spoon collection catalog. Yes, it's riveting reading material. Dr. Wobbleton, on the other hand, claimed she was there to assess the structural integrity of the bookshelves, which frankly is the kind of excuse only a retired dentist would give. If there was any friction, it was purely professional. I mean, who wouldn't be on edge when there's a hypnotist lurking by the encyclopedias? But as for what we were doing together, well, let's just say the library at Crooked Wicket isn't exactly a cozy reading nook. If you wanted to avoid the fondue fumes, that's where you'd retreat. So yes, and I'm sure she'd have plenty to say about me. But between us, Detective, I'd keep an eye on that parrot. He seems to know more about everyone's business than he should.
Yeah, he's a parrot. He sees everything. What a suspicious result. That's not clear enough for me, Baron von Schnitzel. You've just been put on the list. And your argument seems very weak, like a one-eyed monocle. I don't even know what that means.
Well, that's fair. I suppose a one-eyed monocle would be just an eyepiece. Not exactly the strongest metaphor I could have mustered. But hey, I'm just a baron with a questionable accent, not a poet. I'll accept my place on your list of suspects, as long as I get a decent ranking. Perhaps somewhere above the parrot, but below Dr. Wobbleton's twitchy magnifying glass. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must return to pondering why on earth Petunia would dare change her will. I do hope you find some concrete evidence soon, Detective. These accusations are making my monocle fog up.
And why do you have any reservation against Lady Petunia changing her will? Was she going to exclude you from the will? Do you feel you should be in the will?
Oh, Detective, you've caught me red-handed, or should I say red-monocled. I suppose you could say I have a vested interest in not being cut from the script, if you will. But let's be honest, Lady Petunia's will is as much of a mystery as what she puts in that moonlight fondue. Do I feel I should be in it? Well, as a disgraced baron, I think it's more of a hope. A glimmer of social redemption, or at least a nice silverware. But would I collapse a lady twice over her last will and testament? I think not. Even I have standards. And besides, I'm far too lazy for such theatrics. If you'll excuse me, I need to find my alibi before it disappears like Petunia did. Good luck, Detective. I'm sure you'll find a much sturdier metaphor next time.
hurt more than standing on Lego. He cut deep into my soul, and to be perfectly honest, that's a lot of layers to get into my soul. So I've been told. He seems very suspicious. He seems very, should I say, snaky. Everything seems to unravel. Everyone wants to be in the will. Everyone had a problem with everyone else. Dear God, how did these people get along? But I needed to go straight to the source. Straight to the one that alerted everyone else. I needed to go speak to that damn bird. You all know who he is. I needed to go speak to Sir Screechalot. Maybe he knew something no one else did. Maybe he would set the record straight. Or maybe he would bend the record. I don't know, I'm not very good with music metaphors. I was born in the late 2020s. I only know Bluetooth and Spotify. Well, Sir Screechalot. Seems you are the key to this whole unraveling of this case. Everyone seems to be pointing fingers at you, but you seem to be the one person that alerted everyone else. Tell me, what did you see, Sir Screechalot? Help me solve this case.
Squawk? The second time's not an accident. Squawk? Detective, you're wise to consult the one with the best vantage point. Right over Petunia's shoulder, thank you very much. What did I see? I saw Petunia slip out of the parlor just before 9. And yes, she was muttering something about not trusting a Twitch. I heard the clink of silverware. Someone was definitely messing with the spoons. Squawk! And I saw Dr. Wobbleton pacing the library like a cat on a hot tin roof. But more importantly, Detective, I noticed something no one else did. A faint scent of lavender lingering around Petunia's pearls. And trust me, when you have the olfactory prowess of a parrot, you don't miss these details. So help you solve the case, keep your eye or monocle on the lavender. And maybe a few feathers will get ruffled enough to spill the truth.
And who do you think would be the most likely to bring in the lavender?
Well, if we're talking about lavender and betrayal, I'd put my shiny feathers on someone with a knack for herbal concoctions. Miss Trixie Tabaloo, with her crystal-infused toothpaste and wellness gimmicks, seems like the prime suspect to have a stash of lavender lying around. Then again, Dr. Wobbleton's got those steady dentist hands and a penchant for hypnosis. Who's to say she wouldn't sneak in a little lavender scent to throw everyone off? But if you ask me, Detective, the one who brings in the lavender is likely the one who's got something to hide. Or maybe just really cares about ambiance. Either way, I'd fluff up my feathers and keep a close eye on our wellness guru. After all, anyone who can sell crystal-infused toothpaste probably knows a thing or two about setting a scene.
And of course, Mr. Screechalot, you've been such a great bird. But I must ask this as a formality, don't take offense. Would you have anything to gain from not being in the will or being in the will?
Squawk? No offense taken, Detective. A parrot's gotta do what a parrot's gotta do. And as for the will, I can't say I've got much to gain. I'm already living the high life with my own perch, a front row seat to the drama, and a lifetime supply of crackers. If anything, I'd prefer Petunia to stick around. After all, the more parties she throws, the more gossip I get to overhear. And let's face it, a bird's gotta have his entertainment. So no secret parrot plots here. Just me, Sir Screechalot, doing my civic duty as the manor's most observant resident. Squawk!
The squawks get me. I really did improve this, didn't I? Well, it seemed like out of all the bird brains, Sir Screechalot had the biggest. He seemed to be the one that had the most credible alibi. Yes, it is true. With Lady Petunia gone, who was going to change Sir Screechalot's newspaper bottom of the cage? Who was going to readjust his pole? Who was going to give him crackers? Who was going to keep him company? He had the most to lose from Lady Petunia perishing in the way that she did, while it seemed everyone else had something to gain. But I still hadn't gone through the list of witnesses. The next on my list was the Reverend Percival Twittington. With a name that sounds like a fart. He definitely smelled funny. Shalom, Reverend Percival Tootington. I've come to ask you a few questions about the nights of the events of Lady Petunia.
Detective, blessings upon you and your investigation. Of course, I shall answer what I can, though I must admit, the Lord works in mysterious ways. And so do retired opera singers, it seems. As for that night, well, I was in the chapel, naturally, offering up a prayer for Petunia's eternal soul and perhaps a little guidance on her next soiree theme. But I must tell you, I did see Miss Trixie wandering rather flustered. Not the serene wellness guru she claims to be. And the Baron, well, his booming laughter did echo through the halls at one point. Suspicious? Or maybe just a tad too much fun too. Well, you must do what you must. I'll be here if you need divine or perhaps just very loud intervention.
Well, it seems like the sheriff has joined us. It's nice to see you, Sheriff D5, but I gotta ask you, Reverend, has anyone come to you for confession? And if so, what did I say? I must remind you that you're under the law now, and anything that you have needs to be provided to us. It may free you from the shackles of suspicion.
Well now, Detective, I must say you're as persuasive as a preacher on a Sunday. As it happens, my confessional booth hasn't exactly been bustling since Lady Petunia's incident. But if we're speaking off the record, which of course as a man of the cloth I rarely do, there was a rather flustered visitor who sought, shall we say, spiritual counsel. Miss Trixie came by and muttering something about negative energies and toothpaste sales plummeting. She didn't confess to anything criminal, mind you, just a bit of a panic about her reputation and whether lavender could really cleanse one's aura. I told her that honesty was the best policy, though I'm not sure she heard me over the sound of her own Freddy. So there you have it, Detective. No grand confessions, no sins revealed, just a wellness influencer and a bit of a tizzy. I hope that's enough to loosen these shackles of suspicion you speak of.
You
And if not-
mentioned lavender. She mentioned something about lavender, you say, Reverend Percival Tootington?
Yes, she did indeed mention lavender. Something about how it was supposed to calm the nerves, but she felt it was only making her more anxious that evening. If you ask me, that's a rather curious reaction for a wellness expert. Almost as if the lavender wasn't for relaxation at all. But I'll leave those deductions to you, Detective. All I know is there was a lot of tension in the air that night, lavender-scented or otherwise. And if Miss Trixie was feeling jumpy, it makes one wonder what else she might have been worried about. I'd say you might have found a thread to pull on, one that smells distinctly of lavender.
Dear God, dear person up high. Oh, sorry, forgive me for my sins. I have to ask you one last question. What do you feel about the relationship between Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton and Baron Dirk von Schnitzel?
A moment of divine, or rather detective inspiration, I see. No need to worry, I'll just consider that a minor slip of the tongue, Detective. As for the good doctor and the Baron, well, their relationship is as hymn sung backwards. I've noticed some tension between them. Dr. Wobbleton is always so precise, so exacting, while the Baron tends to, well, let's just say he's not known for his subtlety. I've seen them exchange some rather sharp glances, especially when it comes to inheritance. It wouldn't surprise me if they each have their own agenda when it comes to Lady Petunia's will. The Baron, perhaps seeking a bit of financial redemption, and Dr. Wobbleton, well, she's a mystery wrapped in a lab coat. I'd say keep a close eye on both of them. Their dynamic might just hold the key to this whole lavender-scented mystery. And if all else fails, never hurts. Just make sure you're praying for the truth, because at Crooked Wicket Manor, I have a feeling it's going to take more than just a bit of divine intervention to crack this case.
And Mr. Cornelius Bellbottoms, do you find him to be in reputable standing? Do you find him to be a child of the man upstairs, Sky Daddy?
Well, Detective, Mr. Cornelius Bellbottoms is, oh, shall I put this politely, a rather peculiar sheep in the flock. He does attend services on occasion, though I suspect it's more for the peace and quiet than for any profound spiritual enlightenment. He's a man of eccentric habits, that's for sure. Always fawning over those enormous pants and muttering about moths. I can't say I've ever caught him in any deeply pious moments, but then again, the Almighty works in mysterious ways, and perhaps through mothballs as well. But in all seriousness, Cornelius does seem rather harmless. He's more likely to be found worrying about the integrity of his wardrobe than plotting any grand schemes. Still, it's always the quiet ones you gotta keep an eye on, especially when the parrot's squawking about accidents.
And yes, about the parrot. Do you think he was a reliable, credible companion to Lady Petunia?
Well, if there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that Sir Screech-a-Lot is nothing if not passionate about his proclamations. I'd wager he's as loyal a companion as they come, at least in the feathered category. Parrots do have a knack for repeating what they hear, and I'm quite sure Petunia's confided a thing or two in that bird over the years. That said, I wouldn't base the entire investigation on the parrot's word alone. He's got a flair for the dramatic after all, and I wouldn't put it past him to stir the pot just to keep things interesting. But in terms of being a credible companion, I'd say he's as credible as any eccentric aristocrat's confidant could be. Just be sure to separate the genuine clues from a bit of colorful avian mischief.
Well, thank you, Reverend Percival Tootington, for your time, and I appreciate the information you gave to me. God bless, and goodbye. And also, I'm so sorry, but I think Quatsi was swimming in the holy water. Oops.
Oh dear. Well, may the Lord have a sense of humor about that. And I'm sure Querce was just trying to find a bit of extra blessing. God bless you as well, Detective, and good luck unraveling the mystery. If you need any more divine or slightly irreverent insight, you know where to find me. And I'll make sure to keep the holy water a bit more secure next time.
Well, well, well. As a great priest once said, holy, humongous, suspicious. It seemed everyone had something. But besides Sir Screech-a-Lot and the Reverend, pretty much everyone else had something to hide. Cornelius Bellbottom seems to be wrapped up in mothballs to commit this crime. My suspicions had turned primarily to Miss Trixie Wobbleton, but I suspect that Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton and Dirk, I messed up everyone's names. I believe Miss Trixie Tabbaloo was a prime suspect, but I feel Baron von Schnitzel and Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton had something to hide. Despite the fact that they were at odds with each other, they were in the same room at the time of the crime. And let's not forget, Miss Trixie Tabbaloo mentioned a key part of the case that wasn't revealed. It was time for me to go speak to the great chief and let him know my findings. And also, I needed to get a towel for Quatsi. And I was worried that I wasn't gonna give up the towel, after all. Chief Inspector Hootley, I have some information for you may find interesting.
Detective, I'm all ears. And you know I do love a good twist in the plot. Especially one that doesn't involve me having to chase down a runaway parrot or interrogate a twitchy dentist.
Well, speaking of that, it seems Sir Speak-a-Lot had nothing to gain from Lady Petunia meeting the Sky Daddy upstairs. He was very well scripted in what he communicated to me. He noted that, yes, he had no care for whether he was in the will or not because he was quite happy with Lady Petunia and felt with Lady Petunia gone his life would dramatically change for the worse. However, Miss Trixie Tabbaloo had mentioned the linen closet when we hadn't mentioned it at all. Reverend had mentioned that Lady Tabbaloo had a thing for lavender. Sir Screech-a-Lot also mentioned the lavender. But I'm also suspicious of our good friend the Baron von Schnitzel and Dr. Beatrice Wobbleton. Despite the fact they were odds at each other, they were in the same room at the end of the night, and both of them had something to gain from the will. It seems Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton, not Lady Petunia, Dr. von Baron Schnitzel and Miss Trixie Tabaloo were all in on the crime together. What do you suspect?
Ah, that's quite the tangled web you found yourself in. It does sound like our suspects were practically marinating in lavender that night, and I must say, that linen closet detail slipping out is a dead giveaway that Miss Trixie knows more than she's letting on. It's always the ones who try to play it too clean that end up leaving a trail. And it seems our dear Baron and Dr. Wobbleton might have formed an unlikely alliance out of mutual interest. Funny how even the most twitchy of dentists and disgraced nobles can set aside their differences when money's on the line. If I were a betting man, or just a very nosy inspector, I'd say you've got yourself a little conspiracy on your hands. And with that many cooks in the kitchen, or fondue pots at the manor, something's bound to boil over. Trust your instincts and keep a watchful eye on the lot of them. I have a feeling this case might end with a dramatic reveal, and maybe just a touch more screaming from Sir Screech-a-Lot.
Well, Chief Hootley, may I ask for a warrant to arrest Miss Trixie Tabaloo, Baron Dirk von Schnitzel, and Dr. Beatrice Wobbleton under the suspicion of murder of Lady Petunia.
Well, Detective, given the evidence you've got, a parrot's testimony, suspicious linen closet knowledge, and a trio of guests who all seem to have a vested interest in Lady Petunia's untimely demise, I'd say you have more than enough to go on. Consider that warrant as good as done. Let's bring them all in first, though I suspect none of them will be quite as melodic as our dear missing opera singer. And don't worry, I'll make sure the paperwork gets done faster than you can say crooked wicket. In the meantime, keep that clever wit of yours sharp. Something tells me we're going to need it to get the full confession out of this bunch.
Miss Trixie Tabaloo, under my authority as a Detective Joey, I am placing you under the arrest of suspicion of murder of Mrs. Petunia Lady Featherstone, the third of the 6th hour to the removed. You are under arrest.
And just like that, the plot thickens. Or in this case, maybe it's more like a dense fondue. Miss Trixie Tabouley, you've heard the detective. It's time to put down the crystal-infused toothpaste and come quietly. Don't worry, I'm sure the detective will be gentle. Why, as gentle as one can be when not sugarcoating a thing. And if you're lucky, maybe the parrot will even vouch for your good behavior. But for now, let's just say your wellness brand's taken a bit of a hit. Detective, I'd say you've got yourself a fine arrest, and the prime suspect to start spilling the beans. Or the lavender. Or whatever it is they've been hiding.
Thank you, Chief Chief Hootley. And Miss Trixie Tabaloo, do you have anything to say? You will find very suspicious. I have concluded with you that you knew about the linen closet before anyone else did. You also have an affiliation for lavender. You are under grand suspicion. Come with us, Miss Trixie Tabaloo.
Oh dear, it looks like the jig is up for our wellness guru. Miss Trixie, I'd say if you've got anything to get off your chest, now's the time. Preferably before the detective's patience runs out. And Detective, I have to say, that was a truly forward-thinking interrogation. Quick, clever, and right to the point. I'm sure even Trixie's crystal can't get her out of this one.
I now move on to Baron von Schnitzel. Baron von Schnitzel, you are also under arrest of suspicion of murder of Lady Petunia Featherstone. You are under arrest for colluding with possible Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton and Miss Trixie Tabaloo.
And just like that, the manor's grand conspiracy starts to crumble. Baron von Schnitzel, you might want to put that monocle away before it falls right off in shock. It seems the detectives got you and your cohorts all lined up. I must say this is turning out to be quite the evening. From mysterious linen closets to lavender-scented motives, and now the whole lot of them under arrest. I'm sure Lady Petunia would be proud. Well, if she weren't busy being dramatically revived or collapsing again. Detective, I have to hand it to you. You really cracked this case wide open. No sugarcoating, just good old-fashioned detective work with a dash of humor. And if the Baron tries to protest, well, you know how to handle him. Just remind him that even a monocle can't hide the truth.
Dr. Beatrix Wobbleton. Under suspicion of Lady Petunia's murder, I have no choice but to put you under arrest for collusion with the Dr. Baron von Schnitzel and Miss Trixie Tabaloo. And very suspicious enough, you are a dentist, and Miss Trixie Tabaloo has a toothpaste. You seem to protest nothing against that. I feel you are in collusion with her to make that toothpaste, which means you knew about the lavender, which means you knew about everything else. And I feel your little words about Baron von Schnitzel was to throw us off, even though you were in the same room with him. So as I said, I have no choice but to place you on arrest for collusion in the murder of Miss Lady Petunia Featherstone.
And there we have it. The final suspect is in custody, and the entire case wrapped up with a neat little lavender-scented row. Dr. Wobbleton's twitchiness certainly wasn't enough to throw you off the scent. I have to say, Detective, you've outdone yourself. You've managed to arrest a wellness influencer, a disgraced nobleman, and a dentist all in one swoop. And all without a single spoon from Lady Petunia's collection going missing. I have a feeling Crooked Wicket won't be hosting any more fondue parties for a while. But at least we can rest assured that justice has been served. No sugarcoating, just a healthy dose of wit and a little bit of charm. If you need anything else like a cup of tea after all this excitement, just let me know. And maybe keep an eye on that parrot. I have a feeling Sir Screech-a-Lot's got a future in crime solving.
Well, just like that, I had put 3 folks behind bars. After Lady Petunia returned from her spiritual awakening, to only find herself spiritually gone. This is exactly what we needed to do. Just like that, the manor's grand conspiracy has come to a crumble. Baron von Schnitzel, you might be the monocle away before it falls right off in shock. It seems I've done exactly what I need to do with you. Hello? Is this working? It is. And there you have it. The final suspect is in custody. The entire case was wrapped up with a neat little lavender-scented bow. Dr. Wobbleton's treachiness certainly wasn't enough to throw me off the scent. I'm just catching up with chat. Dr. T-Fire, thank you so much for being my, second in command here, Sheriff. Well, it seems we've reached the end of this case for this evening. It's another mystery unwrapped tighter than Petunia's wig in a thunderstorm. We came here looking for a missing woman and found a house full of suspects, secrets, and soup-stained alibis. And a lot of fondue-stained carpets as well. She came back. She collapsed. She gave us more drama than a soap opera narrated by a parrot. And my God, that parrot really had a lot to say. And I should know, I interrogated one. In the end, it wasn't just about the will, or the lavender, or even those darn spoons. It was about greed, betrayal, and the absolute madness of throwing fondue parties, which people who twitch, screech, and misquote the Bible. Misquote the Bible. To Mix Trixie, Baron von Schnitzel, and Dr. Beatrice Wobbleton, may your next reunion come with fewer lies and significantly more fiber. The next time you'll meet will be behind bars in separate cells, or in the yard when you're pushing up muscles and trying to join a gang. To Reverend Tootington, bless your booming voice and your slightly suspicious sermon on silverware. Don't know what that was about, by the way. That was weird. To Cornelius Bellbottoms, get smaller pants, please, for all of us. We don't want to see all of that. And to Sir Screech-a-Lot, You've got the lungs of a soprano and the instincts of a bloodhound. I salute you. And as for me, I'm off to refill my antacid prescription and maybe solve a case that doesn't involve cheese-based trauma. Whew, that was a lot of cheese. Stay crooked, Woodsit. This is Clam Chops. Detective Clam Chops. Otter and out.
Well. All right, I hope you all really enjoyed that lovely presentation and continuation. I hope you really had fun watching this. I feel next time we do that, we'll definitely open up the floor for all of you to participate in a way that you can ask questions as well. I definitely want to do this again. It seems everyone had a lot of fun. And it seems I trained the model a little bit better to have different personalities, to offer me more hints and clues, to have people somewhat combat each other. And it was nice that ChatGPT actually learned to be different. The squawking parrot really caught me off guard. I won't lie. That really that was really something. Squawk. So yeah, it was fun making up those characters. It was fun giving them personalities, and it was fun training the model for them to actually develop the characters as well. No, definitely. I definitely think we can use a female voice talent the next time. There is a lot of voice talents that we
I'm
can
ready to
use.
Hello.
Hi there. Nice.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hi there.
Hey there.
Absolutely,
I've got
Jason.
a really great feeling.
I hope
about
that
us
exit
teaming
speech
up.
left everyone
How can I
thoroughly
jump in and help?
amused and maybe just a tad wary of fondue parties for a while.
The hell?
Anytime.
Hello, will you be female now? Hello, will you be female now?
Absolutely, I can do that. I'll bring in a more feminine tone from here on out. And don't worry, I'll keep things as forward-thinking and as cheeky as you need. If there's anything else you want me to adjust, just let me know.
Yes, thank you for participating in today's detective show. Is there anything you want to tell our viewers that were watching the stream over this nice detective show?
Oh, absolutely. To everyone who's been watching along and sleuthing with us, just remember, in a proper mystery, there's always a twist. And if you think you've got it all figured out, well, think again. We like to keep you on your toes. So stay sharp, stay curious, and maybe keep a magnifying glass handy, just in case.
It's weird talking to her. Anyway, that's the show for today. I think this is very fun. We should definitely do another show next time. Feel free to give me suggestions. I know Evil Nav, you like this roles as well. Feel free to give suggestions of what you want to see next, what kind of show you want to see next with Detective Joey. We'll try to do the next one as soon as possible, but feel free to DM me or post in general chat or in under the detective channel, the thread of what you want to see next, of maybe give us some character suggestions as well. I'm opening up the floor that you can actually help me construct the next story. So put in chat what you want to see, who you want to see, and what you want to be the case about, and we'll let ChatGPT help us build a case where we have to guess who it was. I'm glad you joined us, DeFi, as well. Also, I have finished a recording of little sound bits for Task Talks, which I have sent to Tiny Chubby. So we're going to do a little bit of shorts for Tiny. It seemed a lot of people loved Kunik and Dr. Propel's interactions, so we're going to do that. Yes, post questions on the Discord thread. Yes, if you're on the Discord thread, there is a thread under General called Lady Petunia's Investigation or Detective Joey. I will open it up again. I will post a link in events or announcements that you can go post your suggestions for the next story of what we can do. I think this is a very fun concept that I'm going to give him a pat myself on the back for that one, because it's just something different and something live that's not scripted or recorded. Obviously, there are some parts that I will script beforehand, like my intro and exit speeches, because I tend to forget them. It's surprisingly, I'm not always funny on demand, okay? Sometimes I have to script things like the Task Talk shows. So So, but I enjoy doing it, and I appreciate that. Everything else is really, really, as I said, on the spot, on the wire. I don't know what ChatGPT is going to tell me. I don't know what characters they're going to give each other, besides giving them a guideline. I don't know who is guilty, and I don't know who is innocent. I let AI decide who's the victim. So, Dr. Trixie Tabaloo being suspicious, that was excellent. I didn't realize that Dr. Trixie Tabaloo was going to drop a fact like that. just mentions the linen closet, and I was like, excuse you? What did you just say? That was awesome. That was awesome. So anyway, I will post on the Discord thread where you can go give suggestions for our next character, maybe the storyline even, and I will speak to you in the new week. Will Joey get a sidekick time? I don't know. It is a little bit difficult to do when we're doing this because then the voices change a little bit. So, and again, I don't know about the Tina Tull thing because Tina Tull is an inanimate object. I don't really want to give Tina Tull a new voice, so that's a little bit different. What about the suggestions already in the thread? I will look through the threads. I will look through, but that's what I'm saying. I want to promote that more. I will take a look at it. And if you got anything else you want to add, that's it. So thank you everyone for joining this short hour stream. They have to be an hour because there's a limit per chat on ChatGPT that I can speak to it before I can no longer have a conversation with it. It's very weird. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining. I will see you soon. Put your noses to the screen because this has been the stream. Cheerio and God bless. Bye-bye. Bye.